Hello, welcome back to the Bar Gym Reviews. Today, it's been 30 days since I've started using the Dolphin Elliptical from Yosuda, and I've put this cardio machine through its paces, and I've added it to my daily routine, or almost daily routine, and I really want to see how it stacked up. So we're going to do our kind of 30 days after, or well, maybe more 45 days after. And ultimately, we're going to decide, is this worth buying for your home gym? Now, I'm not just going to tell you the specs that you can find online. It's going to be an honest experience after living in with this for over a month. So if you've been thinking about adding an affordable or at least semi-affordable elliptical to your setup, make sure you stick around to the end of the video and I'll give you my final verdict. All right, so first let's talk about my setup and the daily use. So I'll be honest, when I first got the Dolphin Elliptical from Yosuda, it honestly wasn't that bad to put together. It took me about, maybe an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours with some basic tools. But once everything, fell in place, everything was tightened down, it was really sturdy. Over the last 30 days, I've been using it, between 3 to 5 times a week. On my lifting days, I like to hop on it, kind of get a nice warm up. For me personally, I'm more of a low impact cardio, like walking on the treadmill. And just adding this, again, is really nice for your joints. And for me, when I'm, gonna go for a lift, especially for my leg days, it's a really nice way to kind of get the blood flow into the lower body or the total body. Typical cardio sessions for me typically look between 30 to 40 minutes. And for the Yosuda elliptical, I feel like this could be really great for somebody that maybe doesn't have the best knee or joints. The stride length felt really comfortable for me. Now I am sitting at like 5'3", 5'4", but it doesn't feel cramped, and it definitely, for me, being a shorter person, doesn't feel like it overextends. The resistance adjustments work really well and are really smooth in their transition, and I just think it's really, really good for steady state cardio. In terms of space, it does fit into my space pretty well. If you can see, it's pretty tall. I would say it's closer to that like 5'8" without looking at the specs. So if you have low ceilings, this could be an issue. It is not as massive as a commercial elliptical, but it does take up some real estate. So kind of a negative, but realistically, as long as you plan out your space, you should be fine. As far as day-to-day usage, pretty straightforward. Turn it on. I have it plugged in. It automatically turns on once you start moving the elliptical, just like commercial units do. And it's definitely something that's pretty easy to put into my daily routine, or at least semi-daily routine. So let's kind of talk about, we're going to get into, after a full month of use, a pros and a cons, and then we'll get that final verdict going. So stick around for that. All right. So after putting in a few consistent days on the Yosuda elliptical, there was a few positives that stood out to me right away. So first of all, the overall smoothness of the stride for a budget-friendly, or at least in the higher end of, I think, budget-friendly, about $1,600 less on sale. It really surprised me how fluid the motion felt, how it didn't feel really jerky at all, and the transition in resistance when you move up in resistance, move down in resistance, was really, really consistent. So I think that was really good. Another thing for me was the comfort. The pedals feel really wide, really stable, and I didn't really notice any awkward strain on my knees or hips or anything, even when I did some of those longer cardio sessions in that 30, 40, and even up to an hour. So if you're looking for steady state cardio, this was really comfortable for me. And I've had other influencers that I've been talking to in the gym space that have also had the Dolphin Elliptical, and all of them are at varying heights from 6 foot to 5'8" to 6'2", and so on and so forth. And all of them had a really, really good things to say when it came to the stride length and comfortability. Next, the noise level. Just like day one, I know my initial review, I said it was really quiet. It's still super quiet. I did have one issue, I would say like about a weekend, where it started making this weird squeaking sound. And then I kind of just tightened some things down and realized that one of the bolts was loose, and my problem was solved, and it's been really quiet ever since. So no matter if you're working out early in the morning, you don't want to wake up the kids, or even late at night and you don't want to wake up anybody or wake up your spouse, there's no rattling, there's no loud noises, and it's honestly something that I feel like if I put it in my bedroom, my wife could probably be sleeping and not even notice, other than, the loud huffing and puffing of me being out of shape. Uh, Finally, for me, it's hard to say that it's a great value at $1,600. But if it's on sale, I just feel like the price point really delivers on what you're looking for. If you're looking for a solid cardio option that feels pretty commercial, I feel like that it's a really, really good price. But also, I also realize that most people, when it comes to cardio, if you know, enjoy cardio, you might just go for a run. You might like something, maybe a little bit more bougie. But if you really like ellipticals, that low impact, I just feel like the value is at a great, great value, or a great, great price for the Dolphin elliptical from Yosuda. Of course, no machine is perfect, and after over 30 days of use, the Dolphin elliptical from Yosuda does have a few things that I've noticed that, well, could be improved. I don't think they're really deal breakers. First is going to be the display up here and the kind of the tech features. Screen gives a very basic look. There are some nice things of distance and calories, and there is some plugins for some USB and Bluetooth use. But if you're looking like really high-end ellipticals, they're going to have a nicer display, maybe some sort of media where you can maybe pop on the Netflix or whatever. However, they do have a spot for a tablet, and I think that really solves all those problems, especially if you have a tablet like I do. Second, when it comes to long-term durability, obviously it's going to be a question no matter what. We're only 30 days plus in. There are no major wear and tears. I only worry about a few different spots on the machine. So if you're looking at the actual handle here, it's made of a foam, and it is a pretty rigid or dense foam. It's pretty comfortable, but I do wonder over time if that's going to wear down. Also on the foot plates, it is really great for traction, because it's grooved, but it also is foam. And I just feel like over time, especially if you're going to use running shoes or something that has an abrasive sole, I just really feel that might wear off over time. Now, when it comes to all the other parts and metal parts on here, I feel pretty confident. When it comes to like the fan and the stuff that is on the media unit or the display, I'm not really sure how they're going to hold up over time. They do seem a little bit cheap. I know like the Bluetooth speakers I'm never going to use. They're really not that great. So I really, really do question those kinds of durability. But when it comes to like the flywheel, when it comes to the frame, any of the metal pieces, I really feel like the long-term durability is going to be great on this. I just, again, worry about some of these foam pieces that might wear, especially if you only, hold it in one spot on the handle. That might wear out over time. However, that could be the same to be said for other ellipticals and other cardio equipment. Eventually, believe it or not, things do wear down and wear out. So, overall, some cons, but to me, not complete deal breakers. All right, so next I want to talk about, it's a little bit separate, and that's going to be the Fed Fitness app. Fed has kind of come together. It's a combination of Yosuda and Flybird, and I think it's called Fear, and they're kind of bringing all of these brands under one. And so in this, they're going to call it Fed Fitness. Fed Fitness does have an app. The app, I've only used it a few times because it's kind of new, or at least I didn't realize it was part of it until after I did my review. It's when you use the elliptical, you can sign up, use the Bluetooth, and it's actually really intuitive in the app. It gives you different workout plans. It kind of tells you the different resistance curves. It also gives you different tier lists of like how hard, if it's light or intermediate. It gives you how long the workout's going to be. And all you got to do is use the app, connect it to your device. So in this case, mine would be the Dolphin Elliptical. And as you work out, it'll give you a breakdown of how you're going to do it. So if I run you through like a mock, workout, it might have a 1-minute warm-up, a 3-minute incline, and then there's like maybe intervals that you could do. It really just depends on what you're doing. So the app, I really like the app. For me personally, I typically just like kind of rolling with manual setup. And I kind of just like to go steady state. I don't go highs and lows and different inclines and resistances. I've played with them, but I don't necessarily do that myself. But the app is really great for somebody that doesn't know how to plan a workout or doesn't know what they want out of their workout. Another great feature in the app is they have a calendar and you can actually schedule out your workouts. So you could kind of program yourself, program the days. And for me, this is something I'm going to look into the future, but I want to program it into my workout split for lifting. That way I can have higher intensity days when it comes to cardio and lower intensity days to maybe just recover or just get myself warmed up for my lift. So overall, this is something I'm going to add to the pros, but I want to make it its own separate portion of the video because I just think it's really, really intuitive and it's free, which doesn't happen very often. There are other features in there that are not for my elliptical per se. They do have different workouts that you can use for the Fed Fitness kind of family of products. So you can use, kettlebells, dumbbells. They have bikes, which is what they're famous for. Yosuda is. They also have treadmills, and these are all devices that you can kind of connect and get some workouts in. So if you really buy into their ecosystem, this could be a really, really smart app, especially if it stays free. We'll see if it stays free, but for now, using it as a free app to set up workouts here on the Yosuda Dolphin Elliptical has really been a game changer, and it can be something, especially if you're a beginner, that can really, really impact your training schedule and how you train and making you, really maybe enjoy the cardio and do it more often, especially if it's on a calendar and it reminds you. So, Fed Fitness app, a great, great, great addition to this Yosuda Dolphin Elliptical. All right, so after 30 days or 30 days plus with the Dolphin Elliptical from Yosuda, here's my final verdict. For the price, I think it's a solid addition to any home gym. It's comfortable, it's quiet, it's easy to use, and, maybe it doesn't fit in the smallest of places, but as long as you plan it out and fits in your room, it could really be a great addition. If you're someone who wants a simple, reliable, quick way to add cardio to your routine that's quick, that maybe adds to a warm-up or before lifting or maybe even longer sessions, that is a low impact on your joints, this elliptical gets that job done. It's not going to replace a high-end commercial unit, but I think this is a really advanced, smart piece of cardio equipment that I think majority of home gym users can use and will really enjoy. So, am I going to keep using it? Absolutely. Honestly, when it comes to these companies, Yosuda did send this to me for free. There's a lot of times where, as in the home gym community, if you have a company reach out, you do the video, and then you kind of move on. You sell it, you get rid of it, you let a family member have it. And for me, I wanted an elliptical, but I really just didn't want to settle for anything that was, not great. So for me, when I got this, my first initial thought was, wow, what an opportunity. But as I used it and built it and did my video on it, I feel like my first video really didn't do it justice because it really, really is a great piece of cardio equipment. So for me, I'm absolutely going to keep this at the price. Around $1,600 is typically where we're floating at. For some that can be a little bit high, I would tend to wait for some sales. I know that they have had some sales, around Memorial Day earlier this year, 4th of July this year. I'm not sure about Labor Day, but I'm sure that there's sales that will be coming up. So make sure that you check those things out. On my Instagram, which I'll throw up there, on my YouTube channel, in the in the description below, I will include the Fed Fitness affiliate link. That does help us here at the Bar Gym Reviews. I do technically get a kickback on that, but they do not charge you any more for the product. So if you're interested in anything Fed Fitness, whether it's the Dolphin Elliptical from Yosuda originally, or maybe it's Flybird benches. I know you can buy those all over on Amazon, but you could always use my link, and it just supports and makes these videos a little bit better. So if you like what we're doing here at the Bar Gym Reviews, make sure you like, make sure you comment, please subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.